Hello and welcome everyone to my first ever video book review. Hope you guys are excited as I am. Today we're going to be talking about If We Were Villains, a novel by M.L. Rio. Get that in focus. I got this book from Barnes & Noble. It was a special edition with sprayed edges and swords, so obviously I had to buy it. That was one of the reasons why I bought it. Dr. Fauci has decided to join the book review right as I'm starting to talk because he is an attention hog. Alright, so this book, If We Were Villains, is about seven Shakespearean actors who are currently in college going to school for theater. And their names are Oliver, James, Richard, Alex, Meredith, Philippa, and Ren. So these 7 Shakespearean actors are like a very tight-knit group, obviously, because there's only 7 of them in their class. And the premise of the story is Oliver is just getting out of jail. And he was put in jail for 10 years because he supposedly murdered one of the 7 actors in his tight-knit group. And so this story is him retelling what really happened that night and just in general. So the book starts out with Oliver talking to Detective Colbert, who is the police officer who arrested him 10 years prior to him being arrested for murder. Ooh. So the detective is retiring and he just really wants to know what really happened because Oliver's case has never sat well with him. He's like, there's something off, like this isn't right, there's something not right about this case. So he's asking Oliver full immunity now that he's retired, will you just tell me what really happened that night? And so Oliver's just like, okay, yes. So he goes through and this is what really happened. So if you're here from my TikTok page and wanting to get my full review, cool. If not, I did post a TikTok, a very short TikTok about this review, and on TikTok I gave this book a very flat 2.5 to 3-star rating. And the reason is because if you're not a Shakespeare fan, I would not recommend this book. Or if you don't really like that style of writing, because in this book the characters talk a lot in Shakespearean language and quotes, and they also act out plays in here because obviously they're theater majors and they're preparing for their next act or next show. So you actually get to read the show happening as well. So if you're not a huge Shakespeare fan, I would give this a 2.5 because you probably won't really like it. If you do kind of like Shakespeare, I am okay with Shakespeare. It took me a while to get into this because of the Shakespeare way it was writing. It was kind of hard for me to understand. I'm a slow processor and have a reading disability. So for me, it was a little hard to get into, and I couldn't get into the book until about halfway. So this book is kind of a dumpster fire is how I would explain it. It's kind of it's a big drama, it's about these 7 tight-knit kids who are, in their senior year of college, and, somebody ends up getting murdered and everything just kind of spirals in the drama. There's a love triangle. It just goes all over the place. And it's kind of something where it's just I didn't love it, but it was kind of oh my god, what's gonna happen? I can't believe this. I'm are you serious right now? So it kind of grabbed me. I was kind of just more interested in what would happen. I would definitely not read this again. Of my own personal scale, I would give this 3.5 on my scale, not a flatline scale that I did on the TikTok video. My personal scale, I would do probably a 3.5 because I liked the book. The ending just really got me very well, which we'll get to the spoilers section later in the video. Like I said, it was kind of a dumpster fire. It wasn't written badly or anything. I thought it was written very well, which is why I did give it a 3-star. I think if this is your kind of style of book, dark academia, kind of a mystery, but not a mystery, full of drama, because obviously they're drama students, so there's gonna be drama. So yeah, that's kind of why I kept reading it, because I wanted to figure out what happened. I wanted to know what happened, so that's why I gave it a 4 in my own, 3.5 in my own scale, because I did keep reading it, and I was kind of but if I was just to give it a flat line to anybody anybody who I don't know, I would tell them I would give it a 2.5 to 3 star because it is written very much Shakespearean, because they speak a lot Shakespeare through this. I don't even know, is Shakespearean even the right word? I don't know. All right, now for the spoil section of the book. I have my notes here to kind of just help me a little bit to keep myself on track. So, first of all, Oliver is put in jail for supposedly killing Richard, as we know in the book. And we're all kind of like, what really happened? Because they all kind of let Richard die because he's still alive when he goes to the lake. So technically, like, they all killed him anyways, you know, they all let Richard die, so they all technically killed Richard, but, you know, that's not really what happened. You know, we know that James actually killed him in a fear, self-defense kind of thing. And let's talk about Oliver taking the fall for that. That's what I kind of, like, couldn't really get and why that I kept reading it, so I'm like, what the heck's happening? Before we found out that it was James, I kind of thought it was Alex, the way that Alex was reacting, like, but we didn't do anything, and I should have bookmarked it, but I didn't. But the way that Alex kind of was reacting at, like, the funeral and at the lake, it kind of made me think that Alex was the one who killed or attacked Richard. I did not think it was going to be James. So we see that Oliver finds that little piece of scrap fabric that has like blood on it that we're assuming is Richard's, that we find out that is Richard's, and he goes and he hides it. And I'm kind of just like, why is he hiding it? Why doesn't he burn it or something, you know? Like, why does he keep doing this? And then the same thing with the hook, you know, he hides it. That's when we find out that James was the killer, is because James had it in his mattress, and he's like hiding it. And like looking back at it, they're like, Oliver was doing that for acts of love towards James, in my eyes at least, because he loves James so much and wanted to protect him. And that's basically why Oliver took the fall, was to protect James, which did not see that coming. Like, wow. Honestly, I'm kind of glad Richard died. I hated Richard. I was hoping he was going to be the one that died, so I was like, yes, he's the one that died, which probably isn't the best thing to like be happy about, but yeah, I just did not like Richard. And Oliver and Meredith was an interesting pair. Like, I don't really think Meredith actually ever really liked Oliver. I feel like Meredith was kind of using Oliver to like make Richard angry, and then she just doesn't also know how to be alone and doesn't like to be alone, so she just kept going with Oliver after the death. And that's how I feel like it is now. Even with, at the end of the story, we see Oliver and Meredith, you know, being like together. And I don't really think either of them like really love each other. They're just there because they don't want to be alone. So I don't want to say it's like a love triangle, because I don't think they actually do love each other, or they like each other in a friend way, but they're both attracted to each other. Kind of like friends with benefits, I guess. But I wouldn't say that like Meredith and Oliver are like, I don't love them together, but I don't think that there's really anything between them besides just attraction and the tight knit of everything that they went through at the college. James still being alive, potentially? I'm gonna believe that anyways. At the very end of the book, you find out that there was 2 letters left, and that James committed suicide because he couldn't take the guilt anymore. And, you know, the body was never found. So I would like to think that, you know, James is still alive out there and they'll end up together. Like, it's sad that it took them like the whole book to like figure out that they, you know, loved each other. I don't know, they weren't like soulmates. The way Oliver was explaining it was like they weren't they weren't like lovers or anything. They were just, you know, something, and they couldn't explain what they had. I don't know, like maybe they're soulmates or like twin flames if you believe in that stuff, but I wouldn't say they were lovers. Or maybe they just didn't have time to be lovers and they couldn't, you know, really express that. Maybe if there was like a second book or whatever, or when she died, the author dived more into like the relationship. But I really don't ever think that it was like attraction love, maybe like platonic love, definitely. So I think with James and Oliver, it was more platonic love. And with Meredith and Oliver, it is more sexual love and not platonic love. I think, you know, they like each other because they're friends, and like I said before, they went through the whole college together. I think that would make sense. I don't think it's really like a love triangle. I think he loves them both. Obviously he loves them both, because when they kissed, it was kind of just like they kissed. I don't know, it wasn't like I didn't feel anything from their kiss. I was kind of confused why they kissed. Maybe I needed to read it again, or I wasn't processing the book right or something. I don't know. So overall, I give this book a 3.5 because the ending really took me away, like the last like 100 pages, and then the, oh my god, James might still be alive. Like, I don't know, when I found out James died, I was like, the ending like really made it up for me. That's why I gave it the 0.5, because of the ending. But I don't want to say it's a 4 for me because it just really didn't grab me. It like took me like half the book to get through before I like really was starting to get into it. Maybe because it was all the Shakespeare, and with me and my processing and reading reading disability, it was kind of just like super hard. And like normally with books like that, I kind of just like don't finish them. But I had already made it that far, and like I was trying to give it a shot because I bought it. You know, I bought it because it was like really cool with like the red sprayed edges. Like, come on, like, come on. So I was like, I have to read it. So I ended up listening to the rest of the book on audio just to kind of like get me through it. And once I was like listening to it on audio, I was able to finish and get through the rest of the book. My next read is Onyx Storm. I'm currently listening to that now. I am probably about a little over halfway in, so that'll probably be my next book review. And yeah, if you have any comments, this is definitely not a great first book review, but you know, you gotta take things one thing at a time, learning how to do them. And if you have any suggestions on what I should add for what I should talk about in the pre-spoilers versus the post-spoilers section of the video, that'd be great. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get back on YouTube a lot more with my life explorations because my life is kind of crazy. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and if you do read If You're Villains, or if you have read If We Are Villains, feel free to leave a comment or something in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys thought about different things and what you guys just thought of the book, because I didn't hate the book. I hated in the beginning, but halfway through and towards the end I did like the book. So with that, thank you all for coming and watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!